Hey mortals, Discordian Kitty here. Saltheril Soiree is a new weekly event in Eversong Woods that's related to the Silvermoon Court faction, but it's also tied to 4 smaller factions. Each faction offers its own rewards, but gaining reputation with one can hurt your standing with another, so you want to be careful if you're hoping to get friendly enough with all of them to buy the rewards that really matter the most, the reason I'm making a video about it, new decor. Oh, and there's some other cosmetic rewards that are also pretty great. Either way, being faced with this screen where anything you choose might make someone hate you a little can be overwhelming. We can all take facing world-ending threats in our stride, but being told this rogue might dislike us so much she refuses to sell us her wine decanter? Now, that is scary. Luckily, I'm here to take the stress out of the situation so you can just enjoy the party. Unlocking Saltheril Soiree is easy. Once you've finished Midnight's main campaign once, the quest, Saltheril's Haven, should be available from Jonas Everdawn in Silvermoon. This will take you through a very short questline that will basically introduce you to the event and tell you what to do. First, you visit Lord Saltheril and deliver his invitations to his honored guests. The Magisters, the Blood Knights, the Farstriders, and the not suspicious at all traders you can find over at Murder Row. Why Murder Row? Because Lord Saltheril is a messy bee who loves drama. No, seriously, that's canon. I love it. Once everyone's invited, you're sent to visit their vendors, just to give you an idea about what's on offer. I go over these rewards at the end of the video. You can also chat to Saltheril to learn a little more about each faction. Afterwards, you're expected to make your selection about who you want to favor first. And this is where things get fun. As I said, there are 4 factions to choose from: the Magisters, the Blood Knights, the Farstriders, and the Shades of the Row. It's a little bit like the Undermine factions, except gaining favor with one can harm your standing with others. So in that sense, it's also like the Elders and Scryers of Shattrath City, or the Bloodsail Buccaneers and Booty Bay factions, you know, from the Insane achievement. You remember that, right? You have no idea what I'm talking about. Okay, my point is, World of Warcraft has done this sort of thing before. However, don't think that means that being loved by one means you have to accept being hated by another. Gaining reputation with these factions is far easier than losing reputation. So eventually, you should be able to have them all maxed out, or at least close enough to maxed out that it doesn't really matter. When Saltheril gives you a choice of factions to ally with, this screen shows you your current reputation with each faction, some gains and losses in reputation that your decision will lead to, and whether or not you'll be granted an additional Saltheril's favor. All of this changes from week to week. The reputations that are affected seem to be basically the same, with a general vibe of Magisters and Blood Knights on one side versus Farstriders and Shades of the Row on the other, but the numbers change. However, the differences between the choices aren't as drastic as they might first appear. For a start, you can, as I said, always gain far more reputation than you can lose. So unless you're somehow targeting a faction to be the loser, your reputation with all of them is going to naturally increase over time, so don't stress. You are the champion of Azeroth after all. Of course everyone's going to end up liking you. Now, each faction has 6 ranks: Interloper, Guest, Socialite, Trendsetter, Host, and Luminary, with every new rank unlocking new rewards. Every new rank requires 500 reputation, with a total of 2,500 getting you to Luminary. The factions are account-wide, so you can't just have 4 different characters working on the 4 different rewards. However, unless the amount of reputation that can be lost changes, you never really risk losing too much reputation with any given faction. It's also possible that reaching Luminary means you won't lose reputation with that faction anymore. But even if it doesn't work that way, you should be able to get to a point where all reputations stay above Host without too much effort. The maximum rank you need for Decor is Host, and since that's the only thing you'd buy multiple copies of, the rest are once-off purchases like transmog or pets. There is no need to stay at Luminary once you've bought what you need at that rank. The options that reward a Saltheril's favor seem to make a greater impact on reputation. Higher reputation rewards, but also greater reputation losses. For the most part, these are the options you're going to want to go for, because Saltheril's favor can be used to unlock daily quests with a faction of your choice, and those quests each reward 100 reputation with that faction. In other words, just a single Saltheril's favor can be used to offset and sometimes even completely eliminate any reputation losses you might otherwise experience. You also get 3 more Saltheril's favor from completing this quest, so there's really no need to stress about reputation losses at all. If you want, you really just can stick to the faction you most care about without worrying too much about the consequences. That said, I do go into how to choose the most efficient options later on in this video, but to explain it properly, I need to cover a few other things first. As I said, completing the quest where you choose a faction also rewards 3 more Saltheril's favor. If you chose a faction that rewards an extra token, this should mean you have 4 Saltheril's favor to hand out. You can give Saltheril's favor to any of the 4 factions in exchange for weeklies that reward 100 reputation each. You don't have to spread these all out. Each faction can offer up to 3 weeklies. So, for example, if you have 4 tokens, you can give 3 to the faction you're most targeting, and the 4th one can go to whatever faction you just annoyed to offset the damage. I suggest giving 1 or 2 Saltheril's favor to the faction you've chosen for the week, whichever brings your total reputation gains with that faction up to at least 500, and then using the remaining favor to bring up the reputations that most need it. Saltheril's favor quests also reward brimming arcana, the currency you're going to be using to buy the cosmetics from the soiree vendors, as well as latent arcana, which we'll get to in a moment. The Saltheril Soiree bonus objective requires basically cleaning up Saltheril Soiree. This is a very quick objective because completing a task rewards 20%, so you only have to do 5 things. And in general, just make sure you have outline mode on and look around for things that have an outline around them. You can also chat to this harpist who, by the way, is very unfairly wearing the giant hat transmog that Chinese players got as part of an exclusive promotion, and come on, Blizzard, stop torturing us like this. Make this available to us already, please. Filling the bar rewards more brimming arcana. Now, aside from the smaller weeklies, the faction that you chose to champion will also have a Fortify the Runestones weekly that requires, well, fortifying a runestone. This is the weekly that offers the bulk of your rewards. 300 reputation with your chosen faction, and this is on top of the reputation you already gained with them by choosing them, 2000 reputation with Silvermoon Court, a surplus bag of party favors that's going to contain gear, gold, coffer key shards, etc., and 125 brimming arcana. For this quest, you will need to charge and then help protect one of the runestones in Eversong Woods. There are a few runestones to choose from, but the quest itself will direct you to one. They're charged with latent arcana, which can be looted from the smaller treasures that can be found around the zone, but which you mostly get from those weeklies I mentioned before. The runestone quest is meant to be a group activity, so if you need to, use the group finder. That way you can share both the latent arcana cost as well as the responsibility of making sure the runestone stays protected to the end. Oh, and you can also do the blue weeklies on alts, but not for reputation. They do still reward brimming and latent arcana though, and Fortify the Runestones offers a surplus bag of party favors and a decent chunk of Void Light Marl. So that's nice, definitely worth doing on any alt above level 80. So, to summarize, if you decide to focus on a specific faction, you can earn a guaranteed 650 reputation with them a week, 300 from the main quest, 300 from spending Saltheril's favor to unlock additional weeklies, and at least 50 reputation for selecting them as your faction, not to mention whatever additional gains you get if they're one of the better offers that week. That's enough to go from 0 to fully maxed out in 4 weeks. This might come at the cost of losing more reputation than you need to with other factions, and missing out on extra reputation that might have shortened your journey in the long run, but it's worth keeping in mind if you only really care about one faction. If you really want to be efficient, then you should probably always choose whatever faction you most like that is also rewarding an additional Saltheril's favor. The additional reputation you get from choosing a Saltheril's favor option should be at least another 100 reputation for that faction. Then you can use one Saltheril's favor to increase your reputation with them to 500, enough for a full rank, and then that still leaves 3 tokens to offset the factions that are most negatively affected by your decisions or funnel into whatever faction you want. If more than one faction rewards a Saltheril's favor, then you can also look at which option grants the most total reputation. For example, here, selecting the Blood Knights will reward a total of 225 reputation split across 2 factions, while picking the Shades of the Row will only reward a total of 175. Choosing Shades of the Row would also require using 2 Saltheril's favor with the Magisters and Blood Knights to offset the negative reputation, while picking Blood Knights would only require using 1 Saltheril's favor to offset the damage to Shades of the Row. So picking the Blood Knights would also leave you with more Saltheril's favor to spend on any faction you feel like. But also, don't be too afraid to just do what you want or to make a mistake. These are not difficult factions. It's honestly probably going to take you longer to get all the Brimming Arcana you need to buy everything you want, especially if you're planning on buying multiple copies of the core, than it is to get all the factions maxed out. So if you find it less stressful to just pick one at random, then seriously, just do that. It's okay, I promise. And with that, all that's left to do is have a look at the rewards so that you know for certain the faction you really want to align with is Shades of the Row. Seriously, you'll see what I mean. A reminder that every faction has 6 ranks: Interloper, Guest, Socialite, Trendsetter, Host, and Luminary. Armorer Goldcrest, the Blood Knight vendor, sells the Ensemble Blood Knight's Elegant Regalia Transmog set at Guest rank. She sells the Rack of Silvermoon Arms decor at Socialite. The Ensemble Blood Knight's Dignitary Trappings Transmog set is available at Trendsetter rank. At the Host rank, she sells the Blood Knight Champion's Tabard and the Formula Animated Cinderai Hammer Decor Enchanting recipe. This recipe requires a skill of 50 in Midnight Enchanting. At Luminary rank, you can purchase the Ensemble Blood Knight Socialites Attire Transmog, as well as the Blood Knight Recruits Shield Transmog. Apprentice DL, the Magister vendor, sells the Ensemble Magister's Elegant Regalia Transmog set at Guest rank. He sells the Sunlit Glass Mirror Decor at Socialite. At Trendsetter, he sells the Ensemble Magister's Dignitary Trappings Transmog set. At Host, he sells a Gentle Floating Planter decor item and the formula for the Animated Cinderai Pick decor enchanting recipe. This recipe also requires a skill of 50 in Midnight Enchanting. At Luminary rank, you can purchase the Ensemble Magister's Socialites Attire Transmog set, as well as the Flicker Companion Pet. Ranger Alorn, the Fast Strider vendor, sells the Ensemble Fast Strider's Elegant Regalia Transmog set at Guest rank, and the Fast Strider's Comfy Cushion decor at Socialite. The Ensemble Fast Strider's Dignitary Trappings Transmog set is available at Trendsetter. The Gilded Lightwood Wardrobe decor is available at Host, as well as the Technique for the Cinderai Phoenix Quill decor. This one is an inscription recipe and requires a rank of 50 in Midnight Inscription. Finally, at Luminary rank, he sells the Ensemble Fast Strider Socialites Attire Transmog set, as well as the Fast Strider's Quiver Transmog back item. Finally, Nerev, the Shades of the Row vendor, sells the Ensemble Pilfered Elegant Regalia Transmog set at Guest, the Crimson Lightwood Privacy Screen Door at Socialite, and the Ensemble Pilfered Dignitaries Trappings at Trendsetter. At Host, she sells the Murder Row Wine Decanter, as well as the formula for self-pouring Thalassian Sunwine, another inscription recipe that requires 50 in enchanting. And yes, when it comes to decor options, At this point, the shades of Ro are just showing off, I agree. At Luminary, she sells, you guessed it, the Ensemble Pilfered Socialite's Attire transmog set, as well as the Gilded Sunlance Polearm transmog. And that's pretty much it. Everything you need to know about Saltheril Soiree. See, it's not nearly as stressful as you thought it was. Everyone's going to end up loving you and you will be the life of the party by the end, I promise. So have fun and make sure you let Lord Saltheril know I sent you. If you enjoyed this video, you know how to like, subscribe, comment, share, you know, all the good YouTube stuff. You can also find me on Patreon, and thanks to Midnight, I'm streaming again a lot more lately, both here and on Twitch. Twitch is also running a promotion right now where you can earn an in-game pet from gifting 2 subs and plushie decor just from watching. So while that's all for now, hopefully I'll see you again soon.